Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is African Americans and the Declaration of Independence, of course 1996, and of course we're going to talk about not only the impact of the Declaration of Independence and the period in which it was issued, but also the impact that the Declaration has on American society today. And with us to talk about African Americans and the Declaration of Independence is Dr. RMitchell. Dr. Mitchell is the academic dean at Fisk University, as well as a professor of history at Fisk University, who is well published, we might also add. And of course, with Dr. RMitchell is Ms. LWynn. Ms. Wynn is the associate director for state programs with the Tennessee Historical Commission. And let me welcome both of you to the program this morning. I think we also might add that Ms. Wynn is an adjunct professor at Fisk University, as well as being the person who has to do with state programs. Dr. Mitchell, let me have the two of you, you and Ms. Wynn, to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of the things that were important in leading you to the positions that the two of you hold today. First, we'll start with you, and then we'll have Ms. Wynn to give us the same kind of information. Then we'll get into our topic for the morning.
Thank you, Dr. Haney. It's certainly a pleasure to be here this morning. I'm a native Nashvilleian. I was educated in the Catholic and public schools of Nashville, and it's ironic that I'm back at Fisk University because I received my undergraduate degree at Fisk University, my first graduate degree from Tennessee State University, my doctorate from Middle Tennessee State University. I studied further at Memphis State, or University of Memphis, someone teasing, and finally I left the state long enough to go to Harvard and do some postdoctoral training, but I'm trained as a historian. I'm very fortunate. For about 25 years I've been teaching in classrooms as a college-level historian, and I've been a part of administration at Fisk for the last 10 years. It's my pleasure to serve as executive assistant to Dr. Henry Ponder, the president, for 8 years, and this July I'll be starting my 3rd year in the deanship at Fisk, so it's a pleasure. It's also been a pleasure over the last 20 years to be an acquaintance and friend of yours.
Very good. I appreciate that.
Thank
and
you.
Of course, Ms. Wynn, give us some information about your background and your career.
Well, first of all, let me also say that it was a pleasure for me to be here this morning. I, too, am a native Nashvilleian. I received my education in the public and private schools of Nashville. I did my undergraduate training, well, all of my collegiate training at Tennessee State University. I have a bachelor's in history and a master's in history, and also a master's of public administration degree, all from Tennessee State University. I presently am serving as the assistant director for state programs with the Tennessee Historical Commission, and under that I'm responsible for the historical markers program, budget preparation. It takes in the historic sites, publications. It runs a gamut of responsibilities.
Very good. You know, Dr. Mitchell, I think that before we get into the Declaration of Independence and 1996, let's have the two of you, about Fisk, and of course Ms. Wynn about the Tennessee Historical Commission, to give us some information about your university and her commission. Because I'm not sure whether our audience exactly understand.
Well, I hope that the audience appreciates the fact that Fisk has been located here in Nashville since 1866. Fisk is third oldest among the historically black colleges and universities. Originally, Fisk was located near the present site of the Union Station, and it moved to its site it occupies now, Old Fort Gillum, a Union Army contraband camp, in 1873 with the construction of Jubilee Hall. Fisk is primarily and predominantly a liberal arts school. It trains people in the liberal arts. I think sometimes people, by the tag historically black, thinks that may possibly only open to one race. But since Fisk opened its doors, it's had persons of every race who studied there, and especially with regard to the faculty. Today, Fisk University is 95% black, 3% white students, and 2% international students. Also at Fisk University, the faculty, which today is 45% white Americans, 6% internationals, and about 49% African Americans. It's a liberal arts institution which long has addressed the need of training black persons. Fisk is primarily a pre-professional school. About 65% of our students go on to graduate school. And according to the United States Department of Education, presently more African Americans who hold doctorates have studied at Fisk University than any